Welcome back. You're not watching the political segment on the weekend show. With less than 12 months to the 2023 presidential elections, Nigerians are quite worried about the upcoming elections, as most Nigerians say they are yet to hear the political manifestos from the candidates. They are yet to hear the candidates speak on crucial issues affecting Nigerians. Universities are on strike. Insecurity is still affecting us. Inflation is at a high level. Unemployment at an all-time high. What are the conversations and questions we need to ask as we get into the 2023 elections? Who are we asking? What are we asking? Those are the conversations which we will be having on today's segment, on the political segment of the weekend show. Joining me, we have Lady Ejiro Mukoro. She is a policy advocate and member at Abubakar Bukola Saraki Media Unit. Welcome to the weekend show.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Also on set, we have Wale Bakare, a political analyst.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the weekend show.
Thank you.
Lady Ejiro,
Yeah.
we have elections coming up, and it's interesting that you support a candidate who has gone from PDP to APC to PDP, and so why do we have the same people coming back to run when they've been in positions and we've not had the wholesome impact which we wanted within the last 7 years?
And you will understand that in the question, in the context of this conversation, you mentioned the candidate, right?
Yes.
That is Dr. Bukola Saraki. Now, this is a conversation. You're talking about a man who already has a pedigree, a history, an outstanding record, even while he was at Senate, at the 8th Senate, right, when he led it as the president of the Senate. And prior to that time, too, as governor of Kwara State, he also did outstanding work from health to security to education to women advancement and all of that. Now, when you stand for something and you are going with a group of people and say, we need to provide this change, Dr. Bukola Saraki has said it over and again that one of the reasons for making that decision was simply because he believed, as a group, they promised Nigerians change. He saw a pattern, and he believed strongly that these things were doable. But when those running, as it were, ahead were not going the direction needed, he had to make that simple decision. And as going forward, let's even make it clear, we're talking about looking for the kind of fresh leadership that will drive the Nigerian economy, where cost of living will not be a problem, where women's voices will be recognized, where you talk about the insecurity we have today that will be managed. Dr. Bukola Saraki showed that example. Did you know about the gum amnesty he handled while in Kwara State? That was revolutionary. Imagine multiplying that all over. Then you talk about the gender reform bills. While he was at the Senate president, till date, no other Senate tenor has ever produced the 331 bills in the National Assembly. 51 of those bills were focused on reforms. And as we speak today, the current government, as we know, have borrowed some of these bills that were initiated at the 8th Senate. Some of them, the KAMA that we talked about, right? The PIB bills. These are outstanding bills promulgated right from the Senate, passed by the Senate, by the 8th Senate under Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki till now. So if you're talking about somebody who already has an outstanding record to address issues, who can connect people together, bridge divide, who has the political will, who can speak truth to power, who can stand and say, look, this is what we stand for, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to deliver. I mean, that's all we should focus on.
I must commend him for certain things during his time as Senate President, one of which I was passionate of was the Not Too Young to Run bill, which got signed into law. However, he's been out of the Senate for about 3 years, and we've had several issues. A pressing issue in the country right now is the fact that over 100 people were abducted on the Abuja-Kaduna rail line. Insecurity is at an all-time high, regardless of what we may hear from other parties. How come we aren't hearing this statement and any positions about it while people such as your candidate is interested in running for presidency? Why wait till you get a ticket before you are vocal about the things that have happened in the country in the last 3 years?
No, but he has always been vocal. In fact, why do you think they put up together what they call the National Reconciliation Strategy Committee? It's because they understand that there are issues as we speak. There are divisions, there are anger, there are emotions here. The insecurity problems are also a manifestation of the fact that true governance the quality governance the Nigerians seek, the kind of leadership, the fresh leadership the Nigerians seek that will provide real solutions to their problem have not been properly addressed. So he's already been working behind the scene, and he's been quite vocal, as you know, when it comes to all of this conversation. Like, these things are not as difficult. He's even made statements about these are the ways you can solve some of these security issues. He promulgated some of the suggestions. So the question is, who has the capacity to actually execute these suggestions, these bills that he has, even over the time that we're talking about? So he is somebody, imagine he had that responsibility. He would have effected it without even delay. There will be no navigating or dilly-dallying that we've been seeing as we speak these days.
Okay, we'll come back to you on the position of the party, because he is an individual, and in most cases the party goes another way, especially with the new conversation on consensus, which we'll come back to that. Wale, the current administration, the APC, has been in power for over 7 years, and I've heard Femi Adesina and Garba Shehu say that they've achieved things that almost no other administration has. Do you feel the APC has lived up to its promises, and do they have any reason to come back to run, to lead Nigeria for another 4 or 8 years?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for that. Government is continuum. So when you look at the last, you talk about 7 years, when you look at the last 16 years of the PDP, right, you saw how the economy was, you saw how the security situation was then. Then when the APC came on board, there were a lot of promises that we would do this, we would do that, right? They swung into action in trying to put these things as it should be, like, getting Nigerians to see where we are. That was very important. We needed to know where we were so that we don't expect a miracle or magic, right? Because nobody's going to give you that leeway to say you spent 7 years and you haven't done this, but then the challenges are still there, right? So regardless of the statements made by the additional or whoever, the spokesperson, we can see some remarkable development and achievement within these 7 years already, right? If you look at the insecurity while we're here, we talk about the Dasuki gates. We saw the mind-blowing corruption. How people were so heartless. Money that was meant to procure military equipment went into private hands. And when this government came back, right, because you realize that, you see, it's a recycling. You have most people, like you rightly said, were in APC, they came to PDP. You have people who were in PDP, they came to APC, right? So this is an issue that we need not politicize if we must make headway, right? So you saw people coming forward to seek amnesty. They don't want to go to jail. So people were returning funds, This didn't happen by just sheer happenstance. It was because of the fear that, look, this Buhari's anti-corruption toga will get to you. So people came out to, and we saw a remarkable improvement in the security situation. We saw when security chiefs were being changed, so we can have, we can change the architecture of the security in Nigeria. But then what happens again? We had these splinters of attacks here and there again, So it goes to tell you, to ask you again that, have we made progress? You understand?
So Wale, while the insurgency in the Northeast may have reduced to a certain level, we've seen it evolve. I'm from Benue State, and I saw before the 2019 elections the amount of farmer herdsmen crisis and the number of lives lost. On our headlines today, Benue people are complaining, and I'm not even saying this because I'm Benue, over the president's silence about the killings going on in Benue State and some other states at the moment. But you speak on corruption. Just yesterday, it was alleged that the Council of State has given presidential pardons to about 157 people, 2 of which were former governors who were sentenced to jail for stealing over R1 billion each to 10 and 12 years in prison. They've now been given presidential pardon for an administration that came asking to fight corruption, insecurity, and build the economy. Isn't this a huge failure and a pullback by giving presidential pardon to 2 people who were found guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction?
Okay, so I put this to you, right? You see, let us look at it holistically. There are precedents. There are precedents to this. You talk about the clemency given to these guys.
Yes.
We've always talked about history repeating itself and precedents happening all over again, right? I take you back to 1999 when Chief Olufalaye challenged Obasanjo's victory in court. And what was the basis for asking for the election to be, asking for his election to be called off and he should be declared the winner? He went to court and he was like, look, this guy is an ex-convict. And based on that, it was granted this same thing you talk about, clemency, presidential pardon, and for such reason, he shouldn't be eligible to contest. What happened? The court quashed it. That's a precedent.
The context is different. He wasn't locked up for corruption charges.
It is, and I know where I'm going. In 2015, the same thing happened under the Jonathan administration. This similar thing happened. Alamisiaga was granted presidential pardon, Shetima, Bulama, and so many other people. And this is what we see repeat itself.
You say it's a continuum. So should we allow bad precedents?
We shouldn't. What I'm saying is that this thing is a creation of the Constitution. We have to attack it from the root cause. That's what I'm taking you to, rather than pick on the individual. This thing is a creation of the Constitution. Unfortunately, the National Assembly recently concluded the amendment of the Constitution, and somehow we all missed that. I mean, that should have been something at the front burner for national discourse, where we should look at it holistically and say, do we really want this expunged from the Constitution? Because you look at it that there's the issue about the presidential advisory pack, then there's the state council who comprises both the ruling and the opposition party. So it's not even a decision of Buhari or just one person. You have people who are like Senate president, former president, vice president, CJN, all come on board.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Do you feel it is right, personally, regardless of affiliation, that two people who, for a government and someone who was brought in based on integrity, to give presidential pardon to two people who have been convicted for corruption charges, on a personal note, do you feel this is right, note, regardless of precedent?
On a personal note,
yes,
it is not right. And that's why I'm taking you back, and that's why I'm referencing the Constitution.
But we said change.
So how do we? Oh, so change won't happen overnight. You want change. Change is just a blanket a blanket word. How do we effect that change?
Well, I'll come back to you. Okay. Ejiro, let's go to the elections. What questions, do you think the candidates in the next election should focus on? What should be the priority? 3 points.
Most importantly, we need a different kind of fresh leadership that will change Nigeria from the current direction to the one which we want. We also need the kind of leadership that has the political will to speak truth to power, to address the issues head on. Enough of treating insecurity with kid gloves. We do not want that. We need somebody who is a bridge builder, who understands that in working with everybody, the manifestation of insecurity is usually because of some dissatisfaction in many quarters. So if you have somebody who can unite the people, the old, right, and the young, somebody who can be in the middle, who has the experience with the old people, as well as can manage the young people and has always worked with young persons so they understand the aspiration is key, and especially to the voices of women. And then most importantly, we want somebody who understands that the issue of the constant way where we keep on providing subsidy for fuel is a done deal once for all. We don't keep revisiting that issue because it is not realistic to sustain that. We want somebody who has the leadership skill that knows how to bridge the private sector and the public sector. And that's why I work with who I work with currently.
Okay, that's good, but not holding brief for the government. This government has tried several times to remove subsidy, including this year, and Nigerians have come out screaming, it's too soon, you can't do it now. And just a couple of days ago, I hear some money has been approved for subsidies in the trillions, about 3 trillions. But posing the same question back to you, Wale, 3 major areas which you feel the next government and president should focus on in Nigeria.
One, the area of youth unemployment for me is key. Secondly, we will say insecurity, because it seems like the more you look at it, the less you see. And thirdly, I'd like to see more drive in agriculture. Those are the 3 key areas for me.
Okay, Ejiro, let's talk about political parties. We now have a situation where most of the parties, because both major parties are desperate to cling on or to take power right now. And so there's this bit of consensus where you could be great, your candidate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, could be amazing, but if the party decides that because of the numbers and we want to win the election, we've seen the zoning conversations going on, he may not get the ticket as a result of consensus. What's your position on the consensus context which we are seeing in political parties right now? Do you feel that helps democracy?
One, consensus is recognized by law.
Yes.
So it's not as if we're bringing in something that is new. It is lawful to go through that route. Two, internal workings of politics, of party, is dependent on what they decide on. And I think I would not want us to jump the gun yet until we cross that river, because you don't know the decisions that they will make. I mean, they've sat over it and they've been given the National Working Committee the report on all of that conversation. So let them make that decision when we cross that bridge.
Well, your thoughts on consensus?
I think when you talk about consensus, I think APC, they've set the pace already in terms of how they achieved that with the chairman of the party that emerged.
The PDP did same as well last year.
Yes, they did. So why I referenced this was because, it was sort of like a late decision. The aspirants at some point felt they were going to go into a contest, to have a primary, and then suddenly you have that decision coming out. And then we thought this was going to, the party will explode. But somehow the party leadership did a great job in bringing all the candidates, aspirants together to say, look, this is the direction the party wants to go, and everybody fall in line.
What are your thoughts on zoning?
Zoning has been a tool used by politicians when it is convenient for them. I mean, some will tell you to jettison zoning, some will tell you, but I think the idea of zoning is to ensure equity and fairness and balance in power, right? So zoning is a veritable tool. It's a good tool in determining the direction or flow of power in order to ensure that we have balance, so that one region does not feel shortchanged while another is enjoying the right of power. So I think it's a good thing.
Ejiro, your thoughts on zoning?
It is an important ingredient among so many other considerations. The goal of a party is to win elections. The goal of a party is to present a candidate that is likable and acceptable and can cut across all dimensions in our political space and ecosystem. So the major factor would now be, if you're going to share power, which is really the call actually for the idea of zoning. Remember, zoning was born out of the injustices that has been, manifested so far. So the issue of zoning will not exist if we've already had the kind of leadership that provides equity for all, no matter where you are. So if we're having this conversation, we should be saying it has to be all-conclusive and not limited to just one consideration.
Thank you very much, Ejiro. And well, this has been a great conversation. I think we'll bring you back for a part 2 to continue this conversation. To our viewers at home, that's the much we can take on today's episode of The Weekend Show. We will have the episode uploaded on YouTube. You can also join the conversation on social media. Follow us on The Weekend Show NG on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Andy Madaki. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Andy Madaki. Wrapping up the show, we do have a guest performance, but congratulations to Chief Osasu Igmenidian, who has a big day today. Can't wait to party with you later in the day. And to our viewers at home, have a blessed weekend. See you next week.